Food is fuel. You get picky about what you put in the tank, your engine is gonna die. Now shut up and eat your garbage.
Film Fist.
Welcome back to another episode of Seen It All Before. Episode 2 of From just dropped. Big emotional episode. What do you think?
I felt for Kenny this episode, 100%. I think the acting was so good.
I felt for him after his fucking dad died. Like, it's a bit much, isn't it?
And the acting was just superb, I thought. Like,
Yeah,
Boyd
really
and
good.
Kenny,
You did a
acting was
really
just
good job.
superb. I really felt the emotion. Less so last episode, but this episode I did feel it when he was trying to tell Kenny in front of everyone.
It's my mom.
Kenny, maybe we should go inside.
Oh, that was just the tension. It's horrible. It was so realistic. I think they did a great job. The script writers too.
Yeah, and they're mixing in with the Cantonese as well. Really good
Oh,
job.
that was fantastic. Yeah. And Boyd remembering her last words. I thought that was so touching, but also kind of horrifying.
Little question I have. What happened to the bus full of people from last season, last episode?
Well, I was going to say there's a lot of new extras hanging around. I did try and look on IMDb to see if there are any names, but they all just say like man in hat or man wearing jacket, which is not very helpful. But there are new extras. Makes me think the town is just full of spies. Like when Kenny sat on his own in the diner and the music starts playing Celebrate Good Times, you can tell the town is more than just monsters, right? It's trying to mess with him. They're controlling the electrics, they're controlling everything. It is a bit like the Hunger Games, they are rigging the game from outside. Definitely. There's more to it than the monsters.
It's
I know
top
we've seen
tier
that proven,
shithousery
but-
from the creatures, though.
Oh,
Celebrate good times.
absolutely.
Top tier shithousery from them. I mean,
Yeah, yeah.
you
If
gotta
that was
hate them,
them.
but like they know how to rub it in.
Yeah. Also, that song is not. I mean, when did that song actually come out? Because that was not, from the 70s where the town seems to be stuck. Let's find out, shall we? Kool and the Gang, 1980. That was an anachronism. Is a good word for you.
Thanks a lot to Mythosaurus. I'm a bit interested if it's going to be a snowstorm with that new weather bringing in.
I would love a snowstorm.
I do wonder if it's going to be a lot like the electricity. It's like, where's the heating? Is that going to be an issue?
It must be right. They're going to start to freeze. Half of them got broken windows.
You would assume so. And then also another thing is you assume it's getting winter. You have shorter days. So would that mean more monster activity?
Yeah, surely. Yeah, surely it would, right?
You'd think so, wouldn't
So
it?
days are going to get even shorter, making it harder to prepare yourself for night.
It'd be like 30
It's
days
like-
of night if you've ever seen that. Where they're trapped in Alaska with vampires for 30 days, and it's just 30 days of night.
No, that sounds like a real B horror movie. I might watch that.
It's really good.
Boyd must be the first person to see what the monsters actually do to someone because normally we just see the body the next day, but Boyd has actually watched them do whatever they do to the organs where they like rip open the rib cage.
Yeah, that'd be very interesting to see. But yeah,
I mean, they must eat them, right? But do we know that?
maybe. We never see it.
Boyd now knows.
And
The
throw
other
it out there.
big.
Go
Oh,
on.
go on.
No, go on.
Let's hear yours. I was going to move on.
Rotten food.
Yeah, I was going to bring that up
Yeah.
as well.
Yeah.
Fatima.
Interesting. I don't know. I wonder why that's happened. I wonder if the baby is somehow linked to the land or the food has changed to suit the baby or something like that. But it might just be pregnancy.
No,
Never know,
no,
right?
definitely. I don't know. They're trying to trick us, definitely. Because Marielle was saying, like, oh, it's just normal. Pregnancy is a bit difficult and, strange things happen. But I think it's a red herring and actually something very weird is happening. I think she's given birth to one of the monsters.
You know, when Fatima went to open the door, she couldn't really open it. She kind of struggled. Might be a sign with the talisman, the baby, Could just be malnutrition, though. Never know.
Yeah, that's why she's losing teeth and stuff. It's like that John Hurt movie, like the original Alien.
What's inside me?
Thoughts on Thomas at the end of the episode?
Creepy as hell. Jim is being haunted. I mean, he was the one who got that radio message, wasn't he? And now it's Static Thomas. But the monsters are known to be able to speak like someone else. In the very first episode, Julie hears one of them say to her, "Don't you remember me?" in a voice which we can't recognize, but Julie looks like she recognizes it. The grandma pretends at the very, very start of the first episode.
Yeah.
Grandma pretends to be the grandma.
Very first
We're not
episode,
sure
yeah.
if it's the same grandma, but they can definitely imitate. So I think the monsters are awake during the day and trying to mess with them.
Be very interesting if Thomas is the child that's born.
I mean, that's a bit of a paradox, but maybe. That's
Yeah,
that's a bit of
because
a
everything
paradox.
in this like scenario is just clean linear thinking.
Yeah, I suppose. Fair enough. Oh, so other big reveals we'll have to talk about. So it turns out that Victor's mum painted all the painting, apart from a couple of the drawings we saw. Almost all the ones from the intro are from the house in the real world, supposedly.
Yeah.
So it's all Victor's mum's drawings.
Yeah, you got the Civil War guy, you got the
Yep.
church, and you had the children.
You had so many. If you paused it, you could see so many interesting little ones. You could see kids, you could see Lighthouse.
Interesting little details in them as well. Like, for example, it's almost like lightning coming out of the church's windows and stuff, or an explosion.
Yeah, it's like she's drawing events that are going to happen or have happened or repeatedly happen.
Hmm.
And the flood has got to be in there somewhere too.
Nothing really came about of that, did it? A little bit
Not
of
yet.
rain, and it kind of like passed away, and now it's kind of into
Yeah.
the winter.
I mean, I really thought there would be a flood, so the snow was a bit of a shock to me. A good shock. I enjoy it, but wasn't quite what I expected. I was calling a big flood. There's still that floating around theory that it's all Victor's imagination, right? Do you not think?
It's very hard to say that it would be Victor's imagination. I do think that Ethan is now acting very similar to Victor in a lot of ways, being that kind of cold, distant, especially with some of the comments he's coming out with. It's very off-putting, and I think all the others can really tell around him. I think it would be more likely to be a cycle than be Victor's imagination, whereas Ethan's replacing Victor from the last time, and you can see how Victor's become so jaded.
Yeah, that's probably a good point. Probably just moves on, attaches itself. It gives roles to people in the town. We've said this before, but it definitely gives them roles. But some of them are more special than others. Like Sarah hears voices, but Tabitha has been chosen to free the children. And there's some sort of cycle, right, where people are given roles in almost like a team, like you go play left wing, and, and
Up
you then have
top,
to try and
your
win in
goalkeeper.
your role. You get given a goal and you have to try and, succeed in that. It seems like very few people are succeeding. Maybe Boyd's doing quite well, but is he just repeating Martin's path, or we just don't know. We
It's
don't know whether
seemingly
some
gone
of the
on
paths are
longer than the
tricked.
60s or 70s as well, though, because you've got Civil War and you had even a
Yeah.
Victorian woman painted in that picture
Yep.
in Victor's
Yep.
dad's house. So it's
And
seemingly gone
the
on
pilgrims
more
as well.
than just the last time. So I wonder if it's in the same place all the time, or wonder if it's previous place, because that would explain why there was log cabins there. Maybe that's from Civil War era.
Yeah, definitely. Or pilgrims as well. There's some pictures of pilgrims, quite a
Yeah,
few hats. And then the other two things that I noticed, the last two things which I thought were weird, were Boyd is holding his arm. You noticed? He's holding it as if it
yeah.
hurts.
Well, he
So
did
he's
get shot with a
definitely
shotgun, to
injured.
be fair.
Yeah, but he's holding his arm, not his shoulder, and I'm not sure whether he's protecting his shoulder or whether actually his Parkinson's is coming back a bit. My prediction is definitely that Ellis and the sheriff are going to trap a monster. They're going to do what I said they're going to do. They're going to trap one. They're going to look at it. They're going to tease it. They're going to ask it questions, and I think it's going to escape somehow. I think it's going to turn into like a
Sorry, you
bat or
said tease
something.
it, and I mean,
Yeah, they're gonna like, prod it, poke it, whatever, and it's gonna transform or something, and it's gonna escape in a way that they've never realized before. And I also thought it was weird when Boyd said that Jade went into the tunnels and there were no monsters there, but when Tabby had gone through, there were loads. I think the monsters have either moved location or they can move in a different way. They're not always sleeping in those tunnels, or they don't sleep in them anymore. Is something going on? I think they can move in a different way, and it might be far away trees, but otherwise, I think maybe they can transform. The theory about them transforming into the crows, maybe that one's true. I think we'll find out next episode.
possibly. I do think they might take like a flamethrower to the creature when it gets out of hand. They're just going to burn it with alcohol or
Yeah,
spirits or something. They'll just take an
and I
absolute
think,
flamethrower to it, take it down.
and I actually think that's going to work. And I think that's it. I think that's probably as simple as it gets, right? Is you just burn the monsters, and that's a very effective tactic. Why did no one ever try that before? Quick Molotov. How bad could it be, right? They've got to try that at some point, though.
You think
Gone to
so?
the tunnel. I mean, I was a bit disappointed Kenny and Boyd didn't go absolute like SAS and just run in through it, but
Spraying them
it
all
was
down.
probably the right call.
I think the
Probably the right
pacing is
call.
really good though recently. Like the first
Yeah,
and second episode of this, like the pacing we felt was kind of slightly off in the second season. There's a
I
couple of
think everyone
episodes where you
did.
could cut, yeah, where you could kind of go,
You can
did
see
that
the
really need to
ratings as
happen?
well. You can see the ratings were affected.
This season, it's like nothing has been dragged out. everything is straight after, or they're staying with the main plot point. It's really good. I really like the pacing of it so far.
Yeah, it's been getting really solid reviews on IMDb, straight 8.5s, I think, so far, as it
Both
is right
episodes
now.
left on like massive cliffhangers as well, so like it makes you go back.
Yeah, much better style. They've learned from like Silo or Severance or the other shows.
I don't know. I just think the
Much more
pacing is
effective.
really good compared to like last season. Even better than maybe the first season. The first season had some really good pacing, but so far these first two episodes have been really good.
Yeah,
Like
I
together,
think
it's
they've been
definitely
outstanding.
I'd give it an 8.8.
Yeah, definitely. I thought it was really strong. I think the other thing that skews our perception is we're obviously watching this weekly when it comes out. I think if you watch the whole series once it's out, this episode would feel like a really good one to sort of calm you down before the third one, which is probably going to be quite an interesting big one.
Yeah, where
So
they
I
try
actually
and
think it will
capture it.
be quite well like one on one off style, which is sort of the way I think that's a really clever way to make a series,
But
especially a horror one like
but
this.
they're not just putting in filler, right? They're putting
No,
in multiple different plot points. They're advancing the story while also kind of getting that emotional element of what's happening.
yeah, they're building the characters, and that's what will make a story, right? It's not just about having a really good concept, like the whole Fromland thing, but the character is character driven, right? And they
Yeah.
are doing a much better job this season of making you care about the characters.
100%, but you're also getting that payoff, right? I mean, say they just kill Kenny's mom and then they just like they move straight on after it. It wouldn't have that emotional beat. You'd be like, oh, okay, no one seemed to care. But now that they've kind of spent that time on it and you've seen how it's affected Kenny, how it's affected the town, and then it's affected Boyd's how he's going to go about this. It's like, oh, it's really good pacing all the way through it.
Definitely. And the promises they made at the start of the series when they interviewed them saying that there will be some big names who get killed and no one is safe sort of thing. I'm glad they lived up to that, and especially early on in the season. I'd like to see that no one is untouchable. It's a rigged game, as Donna says.
Yeah, but when Donna was saying that, is it really rigged? Or was that poor defense of your resources?
It's rigged in that they don't know the rules. The rule you have to find out the rules, which makes the game a lot harder. Calling it rigged might be a strong word though.
You're trying to survive. Would you not try and protect your food resource? I would assume they would have someone sleeping with the cows and the goats all night with the talisman there because it's their food source. Why would they not have it protected? I know you haven't done before, but why would you even give the monsters that opportunity? It doesn't seem to make much sense.
I agree, but they still feel so defenseless against them. You can't really attack them. But this is where the Molotovs come in.
All right, that's all we got time for today, guys. Thanks for watching. Tune in next week.